Dr. Christopher Barker here. Welcome to Holding Space on the Road. I am here for the Dan Siegel Certified Attachment and Personality Pattern Specialist training. And I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the theory. I've talked about it before. Sorry for the close angle there. Walking and talking doesn't work out well. But what we have essentially is a theory that is driven by Dr. Siegel's work over the years, and closely following Bessel, Kolk, and a few other rather well-known people. We're talking about a neurobiological perspective in which a big part of who we are is driven by our brainstem. Our temperament comes from there, and it's virtually unmutable. We can't really change that, but our limbic system, well, he uses the example of the hand. He says that the palm is essentially the wrist and the palm are the brainstem, and that's where temperament comes from. Then you get your amygdala and your hypothalamus and your limbic system involved, and that sort of responds to what the temperament is putting out. But then you have your cortex that has to interpret and deal with that, and that is the source of the personality. So he doesn't look at it as a mental illness sort of thing or a personality disorder sort of thing. It's just there are different types of personalities and there are different types of organizations of personalities. And he has really a 9-factor system, which really I will have to draw out to illustrate properly. But essentially, he says that the way we respond to things is we have a basic temperament that is driven by a few factors. We have a need for continuity. We have a need for security. We come from the womb with some implicit memory, and that sort of helps drive this. But the types of brainstem categories that we have create a driving force that then has to filter through the limbic system. And then we have to sort of like work through that with our cortex. And if we aren't really aware of what's going on, which we're really not, because I mean, emerging from the womb with implicit memory is not the same thing as the explicit memory or the fact-driven memory that we develop later on. But what we have is a system that has to respond to this biological drive. And the biological drive then pushes us forward, and we make the best we can of it. Sometimes to satisfy the needs of the brainstem and the limbic system, we have to come up with different ways of coping with personality. Now, how therapy can help is therapy can help with making changes to how we respond to this biological stimulus. We have choices. Okay. And the choices that we have are only limited by our imagination. Now, will you ever be able to completely change your temperament? No. But will you be able to mitigate and therefore choose how you manifest some of these drives? Yes. And again, I'll work on this a little more when I get back home and I can settle down and show you a diagram. But it's really a fascinating system. And I really think that if you get a chance to look up the work of Dan Siegel, that you really should. It's accessible. It's certainly worthy of consideration. It's certainly available to anybody. Highly recommended. I'm going back to my workshop. I will see you later. Thank you for holding space, and we will talk soon.